It is the responsibility as a chief legal officer, which each of them has a responsibility of being, to concern themselves with making sure that the laws that are passed in their state do comport with the constitutions of their state and with the United States Constitution, and to ensure that enforcement is conducted in a way that is fair and equal in terms of the treatment of the laws and the enforcement of the laws in their state.
Yesterday, the administration played a little press release Wordle. Okay, so after this meeting, guys, and hopefully we have the graphic on this and you can kill the prompter. I'm just going to vamp. They put out a press release about the meeting, and by all accounts, it was very positive. But there was a line that caught my eye. It said, record U.S. oil production under the Biden administration. That's a clip. At a time when the U.S. is achieving record oil production under the Biden administration. Now, I know we're not anywhere near record oil production. In fact, that was like 12.9, 12.8 million barrels a day back in late 2019. We're at about 11.5, 11.6 million. So, guys, that caught my eye, and I fired off an email to the Department of Energy about it, trying to get clarification, haven't heard back. But then I realized, Joe, this is political Wordle. Think about it. And by the way, the press secretary said the same thing on the podium. Record oil production under the Biden administration. So, yes, that is true. Under the Biden administration, this is record oil production. But, man, you know, I gotta admit, I'm impressed. Whoever wrote that way, I salute you, because that wordplay was so smart. Because it makes it sound like 99%
they're cutting the record, cutting the deficit in a record way because we're no longer spending trillions on one thing after another when you hear the talking point.
Formula crisis, a tampon crisis. Madam Chair, the commissioner has just detailed in his own testimony that the Washington Commanders, Redskins, whatever you choose to call them, have been held accountable. They've made necessary reforms to the organization. You got a chair here from Mr. Snyder, who told the committee he was not going to be here.
The gentleman will suspend.
But, Madam Chair, what is the purpose of this? What is the purpose of this hearing?
The gentleman will suspend. This is not about a stated parliamentary inquiry.
That is the parliamentary inquiry, Madam Chair. What is the purpose of it? You can bang the gavel all you want, but I don't really care. What is the purpose of continuing this, Madam Chair? That is the parliamentary inquiry. And how does Congress's business actually be continued? How does Congress's business actually be continued by continuing this hearing?
Co-sponsor.
Madam Chair, the U.S. Supreme Court case, U.S. versus Watkins, makes clear that Congress's investigative power must be related to and in the furtherance of a legitimate task of Congress. Especially in light of the testimony by Mr. Gavel, how does continuing this hearing actually relate to a legitimate task of Congress in the face of record high inflation, record high gas prices, a completely unsecured border?
Well, wouldn't you know it? The Biden administration now thinks the way to fix the gas crisis, take away the 18-cent federal tax. What they don't understand is the price of a gallon of gas has doubled since June of 2020. So this isn't a fix, it's a gimmick.
Which goes back to the point that Republicans on this committee are actually saying, if you want to bring legislation about this, that's fine, that's one thing. But if you want to sit a chair in the middle of this hearing room with Mr. Snyder's name on it, knowing full well that Mr. Snyder told the committee he was not going to be able to attend, well, that takes on the elements of a show hearing. And if Congress is going to go through the pathway of conducting show hearings where members of Congress want to take their pound of flesh from American citizens, regardless of their stature, what you're going to get is American citizens actually having less respect for the committees of Congress. We have so many issues facing us in the United States right now. Gas prices are through the roof. I was just at the border for the 4th time last week. I've had 4 trips to the border. The President of the United States has never been. So I think if you're going to examine why Republican members are frustrated with this hearing, it is not about the conduct of the Washington Redskins. It's not about that conduct. Yes, while America struggles in the reality of Joe Biden's disastrous economic policies today in the United States. That is why members of Congress on the Republican side of the aisle are so confounded as to why we've hauled in a commissioner from the NFL. Look, I'm going to be fully transparent with y'all. I ain't really got no love for the NFL, okay? You know, like, I don't really have much love for the NFL. I love football. I've had my issues with certain rulings that have come from the NFL. There's things that Commissioner Goodell, I don't agree with your decisions on certain things that you've done in your tenure, but I'm not going to use my time as a member of Congress to grill you on that. That is your business as running the NFL. If the owners have a problem with you, let the owners deal with it. Me personally, I'm a Cowboys fan. So, you know, if the product on the field of the Washington Commanders is not good, that's great for me, personally. But I'm not going to use my time as a member of Congress to grill that organization when they've already been held accountable by the governing body who was responsible for them, which is the NFL, which the commissioner of the NFL has already testified to today. So, Madam Chair, if you want to understand why members on this side of the aisle are frustrated, it's not about holding, it is about us conducting show trials which distract us from the business Congress should be looking at